Right, gonna have a bit of a rant. Um, I've most of the time leased cars, just because it's simple and easy most of the time. But it can be expensive and it can be pretty awkward. Most recent one was with Renault. Those of you in the US probably are not too familiar with Renault cars. I don't think they sell that many in the US, but they are popular in Europe. They're a French manufacturer. They run their leasing, their personal leasing through and business leasing through a company called Bipi, Bipi, who do all sort of Renault's leasing for them. And I just returned a car that I've had with them for a year, and as far as I could tell, it was all okay. It was fine. And then, yes, a few days ago, last week, in fact, I got a bill for external damage for £388.74. Now, I'd cleaned that car. It looked absolutely fine as far as I could see. There was some feather scratches, which you get, I live in the countryside pretty much, and you get too close to a hedge or whatever, which is unavoidable sometimes, and you just run into some thorns or whatever, and you get these like sort of slight subtle feather scratches on the passenger side of the car. It's common. It happens all the time. It tends to happen on mirrors and things like that. Anyway, I got this external damage thing from Bipi, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What's causing this £388? So I asked them for proof, and they sent me this picture, which you should see coming up right now. And they're charging me £388 to repair that damage. Now, that to me should just come under fair use, just wear and tear of using the vehicle. You can't have a vehicle and not have those little tiny sort of feather scratches or whatever. That scratch probably happened when I was reversing out of my driveway, and there's some bushes and what have you, so I probably hit some thorns or something. Needless to say, I don't think that's worth £388.74 worth of damage. So I thought to them, well, you know what? You can go fuck yourselves, because I'm not paying that. So I literally just wrote back to them, and they've not responded. I'm sure they will in time, probably through some kind of solicitor or something. Where I just said, I'm sorry, that's just fair use. I refuse to pay it. £388, nearly £400 for just some sort of surface level scratches. Maybe one's a tiny bit deeper than the others, but overall, that can be sorted pretty quickly in any garage. You could probably buff it out yourself, but yeah, they're going to charge an absolute fortune. It's just taking the piss, really. And this is the first time, and I've had lease cars for years and years, both personal, company, all through my own pocket. And this is the first time where I've had a lease company turn around and say, oh, there's a bit of a scratch on the car. You got to pay for it. Whereas I've had cars for, long-term leasing, like 3 years tends to be, and it's got scratched, there's a chip in the window, there's all these things that just happen. The wheels maybe have some scratches on. I never scuff the alloys. I'm very careful with that, because they'll always get you on that one. But yeah, and not once have they turned around and said, oh, there's some scratches. They've just gone, yeah, that's fair use. You've done, 15,000 miles or whatever it is. And in the one I just returned, I think I did maybe 4,000 miles in the last year. Which is a lot for me, really. And Yeah, they turn around and say, there's some scratches. You got to pay. You got to pay a lot of money to repair. So yeah, I just said, yeah, go fuck yourselves. So no doubt I'll get a letter from their solicitor saying, Clause 5B67 Part 2 Section 9, you agreed to pay them £50 for every fractional scratch and tiny bit of speck of bird poo. That's what it feels like. So yeah, I won't be leasing with Bipi again, because just absolute nightmare. Shocker, really. Yeah, so if you're thinking of going with Bipi, beware. Be so aware of their excessive charging. It's a joke. It is a joke. Anyway, rant over.